everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Francesca Borland. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions here at Niagara University. And as many of you know, I am your specific admissions counselor for the university. So I work specifically with students from the Rochester and Finger Lakes area. I'm also here with you. I live in Churchville, so right outside of Rochester. So I'm excited that you guys can join us tonight. We're gonna have a great evening. Just talk a little bit about the admissions process, financial aid briefly. We have folks here from our nursing program, our education program, and then a few students here too, so that you can really get the feel of what it's like to be a student at Niagara University. So that is why we're here. We are going to get started today with one of our current students, Caden. But before we do head right into it, just a few things. If you have any questions throughout the program, please just go ahead and write it in our chat box, and we will either address it right during that academic portion, or we're going to go towards the end for a Q&A session and a little panel as well. So definitely, think of your questions. You can put them in the chat box or wait to the end. And we will definitely address those. So again, to get things started, I'm going to hand it right over to one of our current students. He'll be able to introduce himself and you'll be able to learn a little bit more about him. So go ahead, Caden.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to see all of you here. My name is Caden Johnson. I graduated from Pittsford Sutherland in 2019. So I am now halfway through my sophomore year at NU. I am a childhood and special education major with a minor in ASL and Deaf Studies. I do quite a bit at NU. You'll always see me running around. A part of student government, I am sophomore class president. I'm also a community advisor. Some schools call them RAs, we call them CAs. A part of the campus programming board. I'm on their executive board, so I get to help plan all the events we have. I am an orientation leader during the summer, and then I'm also a NUB peer advisor for the freshmen. So freshman year, all the freshmen are in like a little seminar class, so I get to help and meet a lot of freshmen through that. So I'm just gonna kind of talk about what kind of drew me to NU and why I ended up becoming a Purple Eagle. So when I visited, I got to learn a lot about the College of Ed, and I know they have a lot of different programmings and ways to learn about your specific college, but what drew me in was how with almost every single major, you get to get right into your field and learn about what you'll be doing starting so early. So as an education major, I got to go into classrooms starting my first semester and really get to see, is this what I want to do? And I bet Tammy will talk about that a little bit later. But I know I have friends that are in business and hospitality, and they all had similar experiences. I know one of my friends is a marketing major, and she's already set up with a work study where she gets to run in actual companies like Instagram and have all that marketing experience. So I think whatever field you go into, you'll be getting in there first thing, and it's not waiting 2 years to see if you're actually going to like it when you're already in your junior year, kind of stuck in that program. I think also with the education being so strong towards the majors in your future careers, there's also just so much to do around campus. So what we call CPB is our campus programming board. Even during these very interesting COVID times, we still have 2 to 3 events every single week. So there's always something free to do on campus. I know this semester we had virtual trivia nights every week. And one time I even won a $125 gift card. So just for showing up to a free event, I got all that, which is pretty cool. I know compared to my high school, I feel like NU had so many extra ways to get involved. And it wasn't like you had to have all this experience going into new clubs and new leadership roles, but I was just able to join what I was interested in, and now I found kind of my people in my community. So I think that's just kind of part of what makes NU so special to me.
Awesome. Thank you, Caden. And like I said, any questions specifically for Caden, we're going to have a few other of our current students and folks that went to Niagara. So think of any questions that you might have for them, and we're going to talk to them a little bit more later on today. So I'm going to just share my screen quickly. We're going to talk a little bit about the application process and admissions, and then financial aid as well. I know a lot of you are already students that have applied to the university. I know some of you have also received great news back already as well. So congratulations to those who have heard back, and to those who haven't, we're working on it, we're getting through it, and you're going to definitely hear back very soon. We're very quick with our turnaround time, so hopefully we'll be able to get great news back to you as well. very quickly. So I am going to go ahead and just share my screen really quickly so that you can see what our admissions criteria is. So for those that haven't applied, we do have our own application right on our website, or we are part of the common application. Whichever way the student wants to apply is totally okay by us. We're rolling admissions. So as students are applying, we're getting decisions back as quickly as we can. So that's definitely, no specific deadlines or anything at this point. As they come in, we get that decision back out. What we're looking for in your application, of course, the application itself, and then all of these other factors. So your transcripts, which will come from your guidance counselor, letters of recommendation, either from a teacher, your guidance counselor, anyone that you think is going to brag about you the best, that's who I say to ask for a letter of recommendation from. Your college essay, this is definitely required for our nursing applicants. Tell us a little bit more about why you want to be a nurse, or other students, a little bit more about yourself as a student, what you think you're going to bring to the Niagara community, anything like that. Something else that's great to add to your application is an activities resume. Again, just letting us know a little bit about yourself as a student, as an individual, what you're part of in your community, in school, or outside of it, whichever. So just letting us know a little bit more about yourself definitely makes us as admissions counselor a little bit easier to read your application. We are a test optional university, so it's completely up to the student whether you submit your SAT or ACT test scores. We know it's been really difficult to get into testing. I still have students that are not being able to get into a test until March. We are optional, so if you'd like to go ahead with just a test optional application, we can definitely do that for you. So again, completely up to the student. If you want to chat with your admissions counselor a little bit more about this, if you have a score you don't know, if you want to submit it or anything like that, we can definitely, talk with you, give you our best recommendation, and really work through that decision with you. All of our merit scholarships that are evaluated are based on your application. So if you're an accepted student, you'll see right in that acceptance letter what type of merit scholarship you were awarded. Just some helpful tips in terms of the application process. I will say, getting to know your specific admissions counselor is key. For all you here today, that would be me. So any questions, throughout this process, if you want, me to know a little bit more about your application or a little bit more about you, if there's a grade that you just hated on your transcript and you want to explain it a little bit more, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make this process as smooth as possible. And of course, we want good news for all the students. So definitely, send me a text, send me an email, give me a call, anything like that. I'll definitely put my contact information, if you don't have it already, in the chat box when I'm done here. But definitely get to know your admissions counselor wherever you're applying. It's the best way to really get through the process as smoothly as possible, and just get to know a little bit more about the school as well. And like I said, we're rolling admissions. Earlier the better, just because also, why not hear a decision back before everyone else, before the holidays even, definitely getting your application in and having it complete to kind of get it off your chest is definitely a great way to do it. Obviously, this is a great way for financial aid to get their ball rolling on that end as well. So Katie will talk a little bit to that as well. But definitely, earlier the better, and we're rolling admissions. You don't have to worry about any deadlines or anything like that. So again, if there's any questions about the application process, I'll definitely address those, later on. So definitely think of that. If you have any, just write them in the chat and we'll get to it a little bit later. And Katie, I'll hand it over to you now.
All right, thanks, Francesca. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Katie Kosis. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Niagara. I'm also a proud alum. I went here for both my undergrad and my graduate degrees, and I really just haven't left. I'm still here. I've loved it so much. So what we're going to go over just quickly tonight, just a very brief overview, is what you would need for the financial aid process to move forward. So as Francesca mentioned earlier, we do have our merit scholarships, and these are based upon either your grades from high school or your SATs or ACTs, if you took those, if you, submit the test scores. If not, it's just based upon your high school average and the calculations we do for that. And our merit scholarships currently range from $10,000 all the way up to $23,000 with our trustee scholarship. If you're kind of wondering where you might fall, definitely give Francesca a call or a text, and she would kind of be able to help guide you in that. But it would be once you're an accepted student, that would be in your accept package, letting you know what merit scholarship you receive. Then the admissions office then tells my office, the financial aid office, where you fall, and we will combine your merit scholarship with your FAFSA form. So in order to receive any other type of aid above and beyond your merit scholarship, you do need to complete the FAFSA form. It is the free application for federal student aid. You do have to be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen to file the FAFSA. So if you are, hopefully you have done it already. If not, it's okay, you still have time. Please just make sure you get it done as soon as possible though. You'll be filling out the 21-22 FAFSA. It did open up October 1st, so it's out there ready for you to go ahead and complete. Just be careful, there are technically 2 years out there right now. There's the 2021 and the 21-22. So make sure you're completing the right one. We have a couple, not a couple, we do have, we have seen students do the wrong one so far. So make sure you're doing the right one. You'll be using the 2019 taxes, whether it's yours or your parents, to actually complete the FAFSA. And you can actually take information directly from the IRS when completing the FAFSA, and it puts it right in there. It saves a lot of time. So definitely do that if you can. We do recommend that you head it in by Thanksgiving. Of course, that has passed, so just get it in as soon as possible, just so that we can start sending out those financial aid packages. If you have completed your FAFSA and you're an accepted student, you should have received an email from my office stating that we've received it and they're working on it. If you have completed your FAFSA and you didn't get that email and it's been longer than a week, reach out to me. I'll put my information in the chat box and I can look into it to see maybe what's going on. We are working hard on those packages, putting everything together right now. So once we get back from our Christmas break in January, we will start sending out those financial aid packages in the mail. All incoming students do get a physical, copy mailed to them, but you also will get an email to whatever email is on file from the admissions office, letting you know that you have access to your portal, your mobile financial aid portal, that you will be able to log into and actually view everything there as well. So 2 options. But you will get an actual packet in the mail that kind of goes through everything as well. The financial aid package will include any scholarships, including your merit scholarship, any need-based grants, whether it's maybe a Pell Grant, a TAP grant from New York State, any other institutional aid, potentially work study, and then loans as well. So loans are from the federal government that are in your name that you will have to pay back after graduation, but those are part of your financial aid package as well. I also recommend you start looking for outside private scholarships as soon as possible. They kind of start, opening up in January for the applications and are due typically in March or in April. These are great sources to actually help cut, reduce the balance that you would have here at Niagara, whether it's $500 or, I've seen some come in for up to $6,000 from certain organizations. So it's definitely worthwhile to look around. We do have a listing on our Niagara Financial Aid webpage of both endowed scholarships, which are Niagara scholarships that you kind of have to look for and search for, and also some local outside private ones, such as the Community Foundation of Greater Buffalo. They are one I always recommend. There's one for Rochester as well, Community Foundation of Greater Rochester, that you can actually go ahead and apply through them as well. So make sure you're looking for anything to connect with your high school counselor, see if they have any recommendations for outside ones that you can apply for. So there's even some through specific schools I know. So again, please start looking for those and start applying. As far as the university endowed scholarships, you can actually start searching for them now. And we have over 200 you can search through, but you can't start applying for those until January 1st. And that first week of January, we will be sending out an email to all accepted students, just letting you know that the portal's now open. You can go ahead and apply for those as well. Don't know if there's any other slides, Francesca.
Nope.
Oh, there we go. Just the contact information. So our website is right there, as long as our phone number and our email. If you want to email our main office, please feel free. We are located in the Butler building. It's right next to Health Services if you've ever been on campus. We are mostly working remote for the next couple weeks until we get back from the Christmas break, but feel free to email us or give us a call and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie.
No problem.
All right. Yeah. And like I said, just quickly to answer Anna Marie, your question in the chat box, in terms of your SAT or essay, obviously we'll go a little bit more into detail about this when nursing does speak to it, but for the nursing program, we're also test optional. So if you haven't taken the SAT, but you want to apply to the nursing program, that's totally fine. An essay explaining why you want to be a nurse is definitely something that I recommend you submitting. And if you want to go about doing that, you can always just email it directly to me and I can attach it to your application file. And I'll put my email again in the chat box so that we can do that. And then other questions, again, I'll kind of go towards the end, but I want to get everyone in to chat a little bit. So next we're going to talk with our education program. So Tammy's here. I'll have her introduce herself and talk a little bit to our education program at Niagara. I'm going to try to go to speaker view here. Nope. I wanted Tammy. I wanted you before, not now.
Am I okay? Am I
Here we
talking?
go. Yes, go right ahead.
All right, great. Thanks, Francesca. My name is Tammy Bruno. I'm the assistant dean in the College of Education, and I'm a teacher who became an administrator in higher ed. Most of us in the College of Education, if not all of us, have been teachers or administrators before. So we all know what you're looking for when you're seeking out a college to prepare to be a teacher. So as a teacher, I talk a lot, so I'm going to try to make this brief. What I want to talk about today are my favorite things about our programs, the things that I think set us apart from other programs. You know, I can provide you with all of the kind of typical things you hear in a presentation separately, but I'm just going to go over the few things that I think set us apart and kind of make us unique. The first thing is that all of our majors are actually double majors. So when you graduate from Niagara, you'll graduate with 2 areas of certification. So you can practice at 2 different levels. For example, we have elementary and special ed, or we have elementary and middle school certification, or high school and special ed. We have TESOL at the elementary level and the secondary level. So every major that you select would actually prepare you to work within kind of 2 separate areas as you're certified in New York State. So you want to make sure when you're looking for some place to prepare you to be a teacher that you're thinking about these practical things. Do you have a couple different areas that you'll be able to work within? In case your very favorite job isn't available once you graduate, you can kind of try out some different areas while you're waiting for that perfect job to become available. We also have many minors that you can add on to your major. We have lots of students who do a minor in literacy or American Sign Language or theater or art. Imagine what a fun elementary school teacher you would be if you could also be the director of the drama program, or the same would go for high school. If you can help students engage in a special area while you're teaching them in your regular role as a teacher. So lots of opportunities to kind of diversify and expand your experience in your teacher preparation program. Another thing that I think is really great about Niagara, which is very unique, is the personal attention you get. And I know everybody says this, but I actually mean it. In my job as the assistant dean, I'm kind of like a school counselor. So I get you into our program. I make sure you're okay during the time you're enrolled in our programs, and I make sure that you graduate and that you graduate on time. So I actually look at your file. I physically touch your file every single semester to make sure you're taking the right classes, that you are in the major that makes the most sense, that you're getting the advisement you need. You'll be assigned a faculty advisor or 2. If you're an elementary school teacher, you'll be assigned 1 faculty advisor. If you're looking at one of the secondary subject areas, you'll actually have 2 faculty advisors. You'll have one who's your general education advisor, and then you'll have a content advisor in another area. And I actually look at the work that those advisors do every semester to make sure that you're on track. And you might think, wow, big deal, you know, who cares? It actually is a big deal, because we actually have the highest 4-year graduation rate in Western New York at Niagara University, and the College of Education has the highest graduation rate at Niagara University. And that's because we do things like this. We want you to graduate on time. Number 1, because why would you want to pay for another semester? But number 2, we want you to get out there and get working while you're excited and the jobs are available. We don't want you to have to wait another semester, another year to get out and get started. That's really the value of some of the smaller institutions, particularly Niagara, because we're really concerned and interested in what you're doing, and we want to make sure that you stay on track, that you're in the right program. Another kind of neat thing about the College of Education is the way our programs are designed. All of our majors take kind of the same foundational courses for about the first 4 semesters. So let's say you're like, I want to teach kindergarten. That's all I've ever wanted to do. So you get in, you get out there, and you start working with little kids. And you're like, you know what? If one more little kid pulls on my pants or pees on my shoes, I'm going to lose my mind. I really love teaching, but I'm thinking maybe middle school is the way to go. You can do that. You can transfer between programs very easily. You can go from early childhood and childhood to adolescent education very seamlessly, especially within those first 4 semesters. So you get lots of help. We also have a system where our faculty and our administrators have the opportunity to kind of send me a note if they're worried about a student. So if you're in class and you just don't seem to be engaged and you're looking kind of sad, I might get a note that says, Tammy, go check on so-and-so, and I'll have you come into my office and we'll figure out what's going on and come up with a plan. That's academic issues. That's personal issues. That's maybe you just want to change your major and you're not feeling connected to the university. So we have lots of opportunities to connect with you on many different levels, and that's something that doesn't happen at a lot of institutions, particularly some of the bigger institutions that you might think about. Another thing that's awesome is we have an amazing building. We have a building that was made just for our teacher education program. So we have model classrooms. We have a smartboard lab. We have a mobile iPad lab. We have a certification specialist who is housed right in our building. She helps you not only get through your program, but also get certified. We have an office of field experience. They place you in real live classrooms. And then we have faculty pods. All of our faculty work together on one floor, and then they work together within concentrations. So if you want to learn more about special ed, you can go to the special ed pod. If you want to learn more about literacy, you can go chat with faculty in the literacy pod. So lots of opportunities for working with all of us in a variety of different ways. Another thing that's really awesome is our opportunities for you to work out in the field. We are one of the only institutions where our teacher education students start as teacher education students from semester 1. And that means that you start finding out about that major right when you get onto campus, as soon as you start taking classes. If I'm someone who wants to be a teacher, right, and I don't start taking those classes until I'm a junior, how am I going to really know that it's the right fit for me? But more importantly, how am I going to be thoroughly prepared when I graduate in just 2 years? I love that we're actually on with nursing tonight, because I think that our programs are a lot alike in that we're not purely an academic program. We're a program where we help individuals become teachers and nurses, people who help people. I think it takes a little bit longer than just 4 semesters to figure that out, to learn those skills. So we actually start you off from the very first semester, and we place you in schools from the very first semester. It's kind of a tiered program. The first several semesters, you're in what's called an impact placement. You're kind of a low risk placement, so you don't get too nervous because you're going to be on the other side of the desk. You're not a student anymore. So you'll be working one-on-one with students in small groups, doing some observations. Your junior year, you'll start what's called a teaching assistantship. That's where you take on a little more responsibility. So you help with some planning, you teach a couple lessons, and all of that is preparing you for your final semester, which is your capstone experience. That is your student teaching experience. You do 2 placements, one urban, one suburban or rural, 2 different grade levels within your major. So if you're elementary school, maybe a kindergarten and a 4th grade, and 2 different groups of students. So you get to practice all of those skills that you've learned over 4 years. You put it all together and you get to practice with lots of support. You have a student teaching supervisor, you have a cooperating partner teacher, you take a special seminar that semester with a seminar instructor who will support you. So we kind of wrap around the support when you're learning to put all those skills together. In Canada, they actually call it practice teaching instead of student teaching, because it's that last experience where you get to take everything and kind of have a dress rehearsal for your career, which is going to start really soon after that. we have also something that's really interesting and not necessarily unique, but it's a really great benefit to think about no matter where you're thinking of going. We have 4+1 and 4+2 programs. That means that while you're enrolled as an undergraduate student, you can get started on your master's degree. That's especially important for teachers because every teacher in New York State is required to earn a master's degree within 5 years of graduating from undergrad. So if you can get started on that ahead of time, that saves you a lot of time, it saves you a lot of money, and you're kind of halfway there when you graduate. So that's a really kind of neat benefit and something to think about when you're considering which program you'd like to choose. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything here. I think I've kind of covered the major points. Anything I'm forgetting, Caden? I think I covered it all.
I think that's the highlights.
Those are the highlights. I could talk forever, but I'm going to give someone else a chance.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And like I said, any questions about education, just let us know in that chat box. Obviously, Caden is going through the program, so he'll be able to help us out a lot with the questions as well. But we're going to keep it moving. I am going to hand it over to our nursing program. So I know a lot of you are, interested in our nursing program. I've gotten endless amounts of Rochester nursing applications, so I'm so excited for you guys. So I am going to hand it over to our interim dean, Coyne, as soon as I get you up here, and you can take it away. Here we go.
Oh, thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Good evening to a nice chilly, but a warm evening with us, chilly outside. My name is Margarita Coyne, and I am the interim dean. I've been with Niagara since July 2019, but I'll just give you a teeny thumbnail of where I've been. My nursing career started in 1979. And I started as a new grad in ICU at Roswell Park, and I spent 38 years there, 36 years of which was either management, administration, or as a nurse executive. When I left Roswell, I took a couple of years off, and I was contacted by Maureen Kelly. Please pay no attention to the little foo-foo doggy in the background. The neighbors putting up their lights. But anyway, and I love being a nurse, and I was contacted, and Maureen Kelly, who is an advisor to Father Marr for nursing, was actually my boss at Roswell, and she said, I'd like you to consider assisting with the transition for the School of Nursing. I said, sure, and I absolutely love being here. So from my perspective, one of the first questions that students ask me is, why New York, or why Niagara University in New York? Why? And there are three reasons that I say you need to stop and think about Niagara University School of Nursing. Number one is we are small and we are agile. And when I talk about COVID a little bit later, I'll explain what that means. But suffice it to say, we can pivot very quickly, either with a student problem or clinical or academic problem. We are small. The distance between any student and professor is very short. Our classes are 30 students. Our clinical classes are 10. Our skill lab is between 8 and 10. And I am proud to say that we have just hired a faculty member for our sim lab, and we will be reopening that in the summertime. And those classes will be between 5 and 6 people, so that we will have our eye on every student as we do now. The second reason I would say that you want to think about Niagara University School of Nursing is that you are admitted directly into the program, as Tammy said as well, that there's no delaying, there's no spending 2 years trying to figure out if this is what you want to do. First year, freshman, first semester, you are in nursing courses. You will take foundations, and then you move to nursing concepts, and then you start going into the skill lab. Now, the first skill lab that you go into, we teach you how do you touch another human being? What's a stethoscope? How do you use that? How do you use a blood pressure cuff? What's a sterile field? How do you maintain it? These are things that we just jump right in with you. Now, what's nice about our program as well is that rather than waiting until the junior year, in your sophomore year, you will go and do clinical. You will actually be in a hospital taking care of patients. Now, you might say, oh, that's pretty fast. Not really, because what we do is you are taking nursing courses first semester freshman year, second semester freshman year. You take concepts, then you take health assessment, which is now you know what a stethoscope is. We teach you what you're listening to. How do you know the difference between normal breath sounds, abnormal breath sounds? What's a normal heart rate sound like? These are the things that we teach you, and you master those in the skill lab. Now, when we bring our sim lab on board, that's where you're going to be practicing all of the critical thinking. We're going to put problems, patient problems in front of you, and you will have to solve them. You'll have to work either as a team with other nurses or on your own. Fortunately, nobody gets hurt. And anything that goes wrong, we can debrief and we can help you understand what happened. So let's step back for a second and let's say, okay, how does the clinical work? We are affiliated with multiple hospitals in the Western New York area. We're affiliated with Buffalo General, ECMC, the Catholic Health System, which we are very closely tied with, Kenmore Mercy, South Buffalo Mercy, Sisters Hospital, Mount St. Mary's. Our students also go to Niagara Falls Memorial Center, and we also send our students to VNA. There are multiple organizations that we work with when our students work on community health and psych nursing. What you will get a really big introduction to is med-surg nursing and pharmacology. Those are two of our I would say our tough courses, and they need to be because nursing is a science human-based program. Now, when we go back and look and you say, well, what happens in freshman year, freshman, sophomore, you're going to be taking science courses. And I'll retread that. Nursing, again, is a science-based profession. You'll be doing anatomy and physiology for 2 semesters. You'll take microbiology, statistics, chemistry, pathophysiology. These are the courses that give you the underpinning. So when you get to courses like health assessment, you will understand the biology of the human body and how it works. We constantly monitor our student progress. We have really amped up our progression and retention committee, and that committee meets 3 times a semester. We look at how things are going midterm, then halfway between midterm and the end of the semester, and actually we will have a meeting Wednesday. We're meeting this Wednesday to go over students who either need a change in their progression or an alteration. Now, Mrs. Holthouse will say this, and I know, given her a chance and you call her, the other thing about our school is we are not about weeding students out. When we accept you, we expect you to succeed, and we hold that as our responsibility to work with you. There are some schools, and we hear different stories that, you know, oh, 200 students are admitted and 56 graduate. That's not our intent. Our intent is you come into Niagara, you are in the School of Nursing, and we want to get you out into the community, most especially now because we recognize that our healthcare system needs more nurses. Now, you might notice a gray hair or 2 on my head, and we're going to also recognize that within the profession of nursing, we are looking at the baby boomers moving through their profession. And within the next 5 years, the estimation is that we will see a significant drop in the number of baby boomers, and we need to fill that gap. So whether or not you choose and you say, well, I'd like to go to a 2-year program, we recognize that there are multiple types of programs out there, but what we want you to keep in mind, okay, say you go to the 2-year program. In December 2017, a law was passed in New York, similar to our colleagues in education, and it requires that nurses, if you graduate from a 2-year program, you have 10 years, a little bit more than education, but you've got 10 years, you have to get your bachelor's, you have to get that degree. We're here. And if you decide as an RN with a 2-year degree, come on back, we'll be here for you. The other thing is some students may say, you know what, maybe I don't want to do nursing right now. I'm going to go into biology. And we're here. we have an accelerated program, which is called an ASDBS, which is an accelerated second degree Bachelor of Science. And we are accredited through New York State and through AACN and CCNE. And that program is for students who might be going through, get their degree and say, you know what, I should have done nursing in the beginning. So here we are. We have 3 different programs and we're very proud of them. Let's take a stop and let's look at COVID for a second though. I just did 37 interviews for our accelerated program this past week. And one of the questions that students repeatedly asked me was, how did Niagara University get through COVID and what happened to the students? And I will say March 12th, when everything seemed to be sliding sideways, we immediately recognized that we had to work with New York State in order to keep our students either doing clinical or come up with alternate means for that clinical hour, those clinical hours to be achieved. New York State did not vary. We have 135 hours that each clinical class must meet. So if you're in med-surg, if you're in OB-Peds, if you are in psych, you have to meet those hours. So what we did was we negotiated with New York State that we were going to do a certain number of hours as case studies, which is acceptable, and then a certain number of hours which were in our virtual classrooms, our virtual patient rooms. But on the other hand, we also made the decision to keep our students in those clinical rotations as long as we could. And when certain hospitals, some of our hospital colleagues shut down for students, we worked with another group and we were able to move our students into the sites that other nursing schools had vacated. I ended up in multiple discussions with Dr. Ireland, who is our provost, our general counsel, Niagara County Health Department, as well as our faculty, students, parents. I had some very interesting telephone calls with parents. But when we got to the end of it, we said, look, we are going to provide the opportunity for our students to do clinical. It is dependent on the students and their families, and we will support them. Our partner on the clinical side, the hospital, said, look, we won't have your students taking care of COVID patients. They will take care of the other patients so that we can move our nurses to sites where we need them. So we spent a lot of time talking and going through it. Somewhere about the middle of April, we ended up, because the number of patients with COVID were rising, and we took our sophomores and our juniors out. Our accelerated students, on the other hand, we looked and we said, you know what, in 2 months or in a month and a half, you're going to be taking care of COVID patients. It's up to you. Do you still want to go? And I think it was 95% of those students said, yes, we want to stay in clinical. So we assured them that we were working with the hospital, that they would take care of patients who were non-COVID, but again, the possibility and the risk existed. I am proud to say that every one of our students who needed to get through their clinical rotation got through it by June. And who were the students who were in the hospitals when they started looking around to hire? And we pause for a moment and we say, gee, it must have been the Niagara University students. And yes, that is true. They were there. So when we look at this, we work with our students. We didn't force anybody. And the feedback that I got from the accelerated students was, thank you. Thank you for taking that risk and for letting us do that. Now, let's go back for a second and I'll wrap up. Someone give me a flag if I'm moving too, or I'm going too long. When you get to your, when you go through your junior and your sophomore, junior year, this is where you're doing the med-surg, you're doing all the different clinicals. But similarly to education, we want you, as you're going through, to kind of say, hey, I really would like to do this. And when you get to be a senior, you have a 4 to 6 time period where you do an internship. And this is where you work one-on-one with the nurse at the bedside of patients. And very often, and the intent of it is that you will take a patient assignment all on your own. You'll be taking care of patients. You will be working under the license of that nurse, and you will do it for 4 to 6 weeks. So it should be something, a medical and surgical orientation, but you also can say, you know what, I really would like to go to NICU. I'd like to take care of little teeny tiny little babies. And we'll say, sure, why not? So we work with you to get that done. The same thing we do through that senior year is we have a senior seminar that we work with you to prepare for your licensure exam, because that's truly where you're headed. In order to be a nurse, you have to pass the NCLEX exam, and we are looking very closely at, you know, some adjustments to our program to make sure our students are successful. I think I've covered all my big points. We welcome your calls. We welcome Mrs. Holthouse is, I call her the mama of the School of Nursing, because I hear her in her conversations with students. She's very encouraging. She's always there for them. She makes sure you have your uniforms, that your CPR is up to date. She makes sure that any questions that students have, that they are answered in a timely manner. So we have a great team of faculty that are very focused on our students, and I am very proud to be affiliated with this nursing program. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. I want you to all stay safe, stay warm, use our science, our masks, hand washing, and please come on back and let us know what you're thinking.
Hi, everybody. My name is Laura. I'm the mama. I'm just going to be really quick because I know we're almost out of time here. I'm the contact person for the School of Nursing. I put my contact information up in the box. So if you need anything at all, even if you have just general questions about nursing school, but not necessarily Niagara related, it's kind of a different animal than some of the other majors. So if you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to help you. I'd be happy to talk about it with you, get you any information you need to make sure you're where you need to be. I love these events because I always learn something new about my work home. So I was listening to Ms. Bruno as she's speaking about the education department, and I'm like, I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that. And she's saying all these things that I think are unique to nursing, and they're not. And it's just beautiful to me, the environment that you get when you come to Niagara. And one of the things that she said, and I'm going to be really quick, but one of the things she said was the personal attention that you get at Niagara University. And she mentioned faculty members who have reached out to her because a student might be off or experiencing difficulties. So really quick, I'm going to give you two different scenarios. One, I have one of my son's friends goes to a big school, and he has like 300 kids in one class. So I know his instructor doesn't even know that he's there, let alone get the special attention. So I'm going to tell you about a conversation that I heard at our faculty table about a year ago. And it went something like this. Instructor number A, who's just starting out the semester, comes in, and there's another instructor at the table, and she says, hey, Dr. So-and-so, I've got such and such student in my class this year, and I've noticed that she kind of sits toward the back. She's not really engaged. She's, I'm just wondering, is this normal behavior for her? Should I reach out to her? Do you want to reach out to her because you already have a relationship with her? And the conversation progressed from there, and the student got a little bit of intervention that was actually needed. So those things, that personal touch and that student focused environment is just so beautiful at Niagara. And again, it was just so nice to hear it from another department as well. I think these things are unique to nursing, but they're not. It's just that Vincentian piece that you get at Niagara, which, to be honest with you, when I first started working there, I didn't necessarily, I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, yeah, this is going to last about 6 months. But honestly, I'm 5+ years in, and it's still there and thick and real. So that's why Niagara. So if you're wondering, to me, that's just the piece. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I could go on forever too, but I think we've said all that really needs to be said. My contact information is there. I'm happy to help you along your journey. So good luck to everybody.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. That was such great information. You've heard, right from them, any questions, going forward about these programs. They're more than willing to help with any questions throughout this process, helping you when you're trying to make your decision if Niagara's for you. They're more than willing to talk directly to you. So please take down their information. It's all in the chat box. Reach out to me. I can pass your information along to them as well. So definitely, just keep that in mind. And I know we highlighted 2 programs here tonight. We have so many different options for students, so many great ways that students can get involved in all of these programs in some way or the other. And then we also have, if you're not too sure, if you have 3 majors in mind that you think you might be interested in, we have an academic exploration program as well. So again, there's so many options out there. If you need some additional time to really figure it out and explore your options and work closely with an advisor, then that academic exploration program is for you. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. We're going to go into a little bit more of a Q&A with some of our students that we have here. So we're going to get a little bit more casual. If you have questions, that's what we're here for. So I'm going to actually hand it over to one of our current students, Sarah, to talk a little bit to why she chose Niagara, what it's like at Niagara right now, especially during COVID, and just a little bit more about herself. So I'm going to pass it along to her. And then again, any questions, we're going to do a Q&A, a little panel with some of our current students. Put them in the chat box. Let us know what questions you have going forward. All right, Sarah, I'm going to do this as quickly as I thought I can. Okay, here we go. There you go. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to see you all here. I'm going to make this a little bit short just so we have time for your questions, but my name is Sarah. I am a senior business management major, obviously from Rochester, New York. I graduated from Our Lady of Mercy in 2017. So I'm just approaching my college graduation, which seems so crazy to me, but it flies by. So just like Kaden, I am also involved on campus in a lot of different things. So I'm also a community advisor in the freshman towers. I'm a senator for the senior class student government. I've been a tour guide through admissions, a student assistant through admissions. I've also been an orientation leader over the summer, as well as a NUB peer mentor, and I am the vice president of a club on campus as well. So basically, to sum that all up, there's so many opportunities to get involved as a student on campus right from the beginning. My first semester freshman year, I was already involved in admissions, becoming a tour guide, getting trained, learning all the ropes behind that. So that's a really big piece of advice for anyone coming to Niagara, is to get involved right away, because there are so many opportunities and that really makes your college experience so much better. And especially during COVID now, it's a little bit different for you guys applying now than it was for me. I would say just everything that Niagara has done during COVID proves why it's such a great university to be at. They have not stopped trying their best and trying their hardest for their students. They easily could have just given up trying to do events. They could have given up trying to do floor programs for residence life and doing all these different things, but they tried their hardest and they really persevered through COVID. And that's just another reason why it proves to me still to this day why I chose Niagara. They don't give up on their students. They want to keep pushing. They want to keep reminding you why you should be here. And even as a senior, I don't feel like I've been forgotten. You know, I'm about to leave, but I still feel just as welcome as the first day I stepped foot on campus. So no matter what year you are, no matter what you're doing, what major you're in, everyone at Niagara wants to support you. And that's really the biggest reason why I chose to come here as well, because the small campus community is just so welcoming and it's just such a loving place to be at. So those are my biggest reasons for why I chose Niagara.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. I'm now going to hand this over to my colleague, Bridget. She, although as a colleague, she also went to Niagara and is from the Rochester area. So I'm going to have her speak a little bit to her experience as well, so that you can learn a little bit more about why you should choose Niagara. I'm going to get this quicker eventually. There you go, Bridget.
Yeah, you did it. Good job, Francesca. Hi, everyone. My name's Bridget. I'm from Fairport, New York. So I graduated from Fairport in 2016 and then graduated from Niagara in 2020. I went through the College of Education and I am currently studying for my teacher certification exams. So I'm doing all of that now. And what's great about, and I want to add to what Tammy said too, is for a student like me, I was crazy involved, a lot like Sarah, a lot like Kaden, and I wanted to make the most of my experience there. And my goal was to take all of my certification exams after graduation, and not a lot of universities allow you to do that. So now I was able to do everything I wanted to do in college, and then now I'm able to finish up and put the little cherry on top to my College of Education experience. So that's a big thing that I wanted to add. But I chose Niagara University because I loved that it was the sweet spot of distance away. You know, I have a lot of family in Buffalo, so that was a good factor for me, but I really wanted to be able to kind of have my own space, but also be able to go home for the day if I wanted to. So I've been able to do like day trips. I still live in the fall, so I've been doing day trips back and forth with my family every once in a while. I still was able to feel like I was growing on my own and things like that, but I wasn't so far away from home that it felt like I was completely separated from my family. So that was really great. And then speaking to my experience with like Fairport High School and the family feel, I really knew that I needed a school where, I know we keep talking about it, but I needed to be able to say, oh, my professors to say, oh, Bridget, how are you doing today? Or, oh, Bridget, I saw you were struggling during this topic during class. Do you want to come up to my office and work this out together? That's something normal that happens at Niagara. So your professors are definitely there for you. And I knew that I needed to have that extra guidance there, just to know, because I'm an anxious student, I want to know that I have everything all set and pat, and I want to have everything done perfectly the best way that I can, hopefully the first time, but I know in reality that's not the best way. So it was really great to be able to have that relationship with my professors and knowing that I was being able to give them the best chance to succeed and all the tools that I needed to succeed. And when I first arrived at Niagara, I was quiet, believe it or not. I would always kind of sit in the back, but as I started finding myself and my professors started encouraging me and I built more relationship with students, I started to find my voice. So as an education major, I was appointed to the executive cabinet of Student Government Association, where I served as the communications director. So I helped plan concerts. So I got to meet some fun celebrities and do all the marketing for all of our fun events on campus. So I did a lot of great things. But if you're looking for a school that'll allow you to have your voice and a lot of great guidance and is willing to work with you and be flexible, Niagara University is going to be a great fit for you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Bridget. I'm just going to go into gallery view here quickly. I don't see any questions coming in, which is totally fine. I know we've held your attention for quite a while tonight. So I'll propose just a couple questions for Kaden or Bridget or Sarah, whoever wants to take them is totally up to you. A lot of, questions that, just through my time in admissions that have come up is definitely, what am I going to do on the weekends? Especially if I don't want to head home back to Rochester, what is there to do on the weekends to stay involved and be part of the community? Anyone can take it. Kaden, go ahead.
A little bit. Yeah, so I know I mentioned Campus Programming Board a little earlier, but something cool we have is every Friday night, we have Late Night Niagara, which is a different free event on campus. So in a typical year, we'll have like giant in-person events like Country Night or 80s Night or a bunch of stuff with free food and free giveaways. This semester, some of them went a little virtual. But then beyond events on campus, I think Niagara is in such a cool area that it's close to pretty much everything. It's close to Canada when that will hopefully open up soon. It's close to the Niagara outlet malls. It's close to Buffalo. So you can kind of get the best of both worlds of like, you can do like the tourist vibes around Niagara Falls, but then it's also like, we have Target and Walmart and like the essentials that you need.
Awesome. And just to keep it going with questions, how do I do that? How do I get around? If I have clinicals or I have, student teaching or anything like that, and I don't have a vehicle, how is it I could get around and things like that? Again, anyone could take it.
I can take that one.
Sure.
So for the there we have a Niagara shuttle, so that'll take you to like the different shopping places that Kaden had mentioned, and they have that schedule posted all over the university campus. So wherever you need to go, and then they have certain times listed for the shuttle, so they keep you informed about that. And then on the student teaching side of things, if you have a placement, I know that the Department of Education offers the impact van, so they will actually give you transportation to your placement. So that's a really great thing that they do as well.
I think also something that's really cool is you can have a car on campus as a freshman. Like I know when I was looking at different colleges, that's never something I would have thought of like firsthand to ask about, but I'm so grateful that last year I was able to have my car. A lot of my friends had cars, but then also I think like through orientation, you meet so many people so quick that even if you don't have a car on campus, you're always going to know someone that has a car and you can make those kind of big group trips to wherever you need to go.
Definitely great points for sure. You answered my question. Perfect. Awesome. So like I said, we've kept you on here for a little bit now. There's going to be questions that come up throughout this process. And like I said, we're here for you. I think as you can tell from everyone talking tonight, it is such such a family we have at Niagara. You would really be joining a community that is so family-based and just wanting students to succeed and go off to really great careers and be involved and happy and having fun throughout this time as well. So that's what we're here for. If you have any questions going forward, please do not hesitate to reach out. Like I said, I'm your admissions counselor. Let me know a little bit about yourself. If you have questions, just let me know and I can connect you with any of the individuals here tonight so that you can just stay involved and throughout this process. So I wanted to thank you for taking your time and joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure and it's been so much great information. So enjoy the rest of your evening and happy holidays. I hope you enjoy this time with your family. Thanks, everyone.
Me and Sarah can put it in the group chat, but as orientation leaders, we both have our own Instagram account, so you can reach out to either of us with any questions, whether it be about NU or just college overall.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'm recorded this tonight too, so I'll also be able to share this with you so that you have it as we go forward. So again, anything that comes up, just let us know. But thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks for stopping by, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.